Hi, I'm Rev Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for 44 years. I'm going through the text again this year, asking Jesus to clarify for me, and then I write from that clarity. And that's what I'm sharing with you today. So we're still in chapter 14, and we're at the very end of section 7, sharing perception with the Holy Spirit. It's taken me a while to get through this last paragraph. Not that it's a long section, it's just taken me a while. So let's see what he says. Paragraph 7, joining with him in seeing is a way in which you learn to share with him the interpretation of perception that leads to knowledge. You cannot see alone. Sharing perception with him whom God has given you teaches you how to recognize what you see. It is a recognition that nothing you see means anything alone. Seeing with him will show you that all meaning, including yours, comes not from double vision, but from the gentle fusing of everything into one meaning, one emotion, and one purpose. God has one purpose which he shares with you. The single vision which the Holy Spirit offers you will bring this oneness to your mind with the clarity and brightness so intense you could not wish for all the world not to accept what God would have you have. Behold your will, accepting it as his, with all his love as yours. All honor to you through him, and through him unto God. Well, when I first read this paragraph, I wasn't sure where to begin. There's so much in it. And how was I to use it? I wanted to simplify what is being so beautifully expressed here. I asked ChatGPT to do that for me, and I love what it gave me. In just 9 lines, Jesus describes the entire path. 1, we stop trusting our private perception. 2, we share perception with the Holy Spirit. 3, meaning becomes unified. 4, Christ vision appears. 5, accept God's will as our own. 6, perception fades into knowledge. The whole spiritual journey is right there. So I started with the first step. Have I stopped trusting my private perception? Yes, I have. That doesn't mean that I always choose the Holy Spirit's interpretation first. Sometimes I still turn to the ego for meaning. I do this because it's a habit. But here's the good news. I usually notice the error fairly quickly and choose again. It's easy to tell the difference once I've gotten into the habit of asking the Holy Spirit to interpret for me. Perception interpreted by the ego leads to separation, judgment, conflicting meanings. Perception interpreted by the Holy Spirit leads toward forgiveness, shared meaning, the real world, and eventually knowledge. Of course, knowledge is beyond perception, but right perception prepares the mind for it. I was preparing supper and was reminded of my son, who's a very good cook. I felt a moment of resentment that he and I are not as close as we once were, and that it had been his choice. It wasn't words in my mind, just a feeling. It was fleeting, but I noticed it. That was ego's interpretation of the situation. I felt separate from my son. I judged him as a problem. I felt uncomfortable because that interpretation conflicts with my goal of peace. Because I noticed it, I thank Jesus for helping me to see it. Even though the feeling had passed, he brought my attention back to it. And right there, I was able to make the correction. I joined the Holy Spirit in his interpretation. I forgave my judgments by sharing the meaning the Holy Spirit gave me. My son is one with me, and we are one with God, regardless of any misunderstandings. I felt the love that comes with joining, and this felt like a small step toward the world that reflects only love. Choosing the Holy Spirit as my interpreter leads me to right perception and prepares my mind for knowledge. That is how I learned to stop trusting my private perception and to share perception with the Holy Spirit instead. When meaning becomes unified, we accept Christ's vision, the gentle fusing of everything into one meaning, one emotion, and one purpose. Looking at the disagreement with my son, I once saw his words as a problem and spent a lot of time trying to find a solution that would bring us back into union. I saw him as wrong and I was right, so there was no path to union. The ego wants to be right. It wants to win. It wants to defend its preferences, and it reacts differently to each situation. It becomes very complicated. When I turned to the Holy Spirit instead, all that fell away. The Holy Spirit ignores the form of the situation because its purpose is awakening through forgiveness. No matter what the problem seems to be, the answer is the same. This is what I realized the moment I chose the Holy Spirit's interpretation. I no longer care about being right. I don't care about the disagreement at all. He can stay upset for the rest of his life, and I will just go on loving him without any need for him to change. I forgive him and myself for our errors, and I'm at peace. This paragraph really does lead us to the end of the journey if we're willing to use it. The ego sees many problems and many solutions. The Holy Spirit sees only one problem and one answer. Thanks so much for joining me in this. I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, then please like it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Also, I did a contemplation on the daily lesson, so please look for that. And I think it was lesson 67, if I'm not mistaken. And as well as this, I'm going to be doing a live, having a live conversation with Eric McCarty, who has the YouTube channel Just a Yogi, and I would welcome you to join us for that. It's going to be today at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All righty, be back soon.